So I thought I would jump on this morning. Thank you, Yvette. I appreciate it. Just in case you don't know who I am, because I haven't jumped on live in a while, I'm Amanda Aaron with Love and Soap Studio. So you probably joined this Facebook group because from my website or my email newsletter or some way like that, my ebooks or something like that. But my husband and I, Benjamin and I, run this group, and our whole goal of the group is for it to be a really nice, safe place for people to learn all about soap making. So whether you're new, whether you're experienced, we welcome you here. We're glad you're here. Feel free to ask questions about soap making, share your creations. We love to see what you're working on. Okay. Hey everyone. Oh, y'all are just being too sweet. Hi Cindy. Hi Constance. Good morning. That's okay. So today, I thought I would kick this off. We had some chatter in the group not too long ago about what is like a really simple swirl if someone is just getting into swirling. So maybe you've made a couple batches of soap and now you're ready to step up your game and try your first design. And there were a lot of comments on it, but I feel like the easiest swirl to try after you've learned the basics is just a simple tiger stripe. And the reason I tell people that is because a tiger stripe works whether your soap is super fluid or maybe you haven't really learned how to control trace yet and your soap thickens. So it still works. It still looks amazing if you follow the process of pouring it. So I'm just going to show you that today. I also got a new mold, and I know I'm late to this game. I have tall and skinny molds from Brambleberry that I normally use, but this is just completely different dimensions. It's a tall and skinny mold from Nurture Soap, and I mean, lots of people use this mold. I'm so late to getting this. I've just always kind of stuck with that Brambleberry mold. So I just wanted to give this a try today and see how it goes. So if you're looking for a swirling recipe, I'll share what I'm using today. It's from, I have a free download, a little swirling freebie guide, and I'll post a link for you. But it gives you a recipe, or a few recipes if I remember correctly, but then it talks about like temperatures and how that controls trace, how oil selection controls trace, and your water amount. And so if you want more information on that, I'll put the link. I'm not going to go into all that today just because I'm just going to do a quick kind of design tutorial. But if you are new to soap making or you haven't ventured out into doing like the fun designs and everything, I highly recommend trying a tiger swirl, and that's what I'm going to show you today. So brand new to soap making, because I know that we probably have some people that are brand new. We also have a free soap making guide at Love and Soap. It's loveandsoap.com/make soap, and so you can download that and get a lot of, get the whole process explained and everything. So very hot in Florida, rainy in Texas. Hey Stephanie, how are you? All right, so like I said, if you're just joining me, I'm just gonna do a quick and simple tiger stripe. It's one of my favorite swirls to do or designs to do. You can do it with like super fluid soap, or you can do it with thicker soap, and you'll get like different results. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. I'll put a link to the recipe after I'm done. So if you want the recipe, you can get that. And let me just see what I'm missing here. Okay, so I'm going to tilt the camera down. And I learned the tiger stripe from you and Holly. Oh, that's going to make me cry. Okay, so let's just tilt this down, and hopefully I won't drop it into anything. And I'm still trying to figure out like the camera angles and everything, but let's just see what this looks like. I want you guys to have a really good view of everything. All right, I think this looks pretty good. Okay, perfect. So I already have my lye solution made, and when it comes to swirling, you want your temperatures fairly cool. So the cooler your temperatures, the slower your soap is going to move, and it's going to give you time to do your design. If your temperatures are higher, then that can cause your soap to move quicker and thicken up and you might not have a lot of time to do your design. So I've given this a little time to cool down. And when I'm swirling, my ideal temperature range is like 85 to 110. So I try to hit like that 90. In the 90s is kind of the perfect temperature. And I'm talking Fahrenheit today, because we're in the US. So over here, I've got my hard oils and butters melted. Let me just make sure you can see this because there's like a lag. And to this, I'm gonna add my liquid. And I multi-batch my liquid oils. So I just make up big batches of them in these containers that my oils came in. And then that way, when I'm ready to make soap, I have my hard oils already measured out in these containers. I melt them and then I add my liquid oils. And so that's gonna allow the temperatures to drop as well. So you don't wanna add everything into your pot at once and then melt it, because it's gonna heat everything up too much and you're gonna have to wait a long time for that to cool down. So easy peasy. For this, 540 grams. And I have a YouTube series video on multi-batching that I can link to as well for you guys, because it's really helpful. It saves a lot of time. It's not quite master batching because I don't I don't pre-mix the lye and I don't put all the oils together and all that. So it's a little different, but similar. Whoop. Oh, and I need to grab some fragrance. So I'm actually just gonna use, I'm pretty plain and boring. I don't sell my soap, so I usually try to make what I like. And I love using like lavenders, lemongrass, Litsea, those types of things. So when it comes to essential oils, different essential oils have different usage rates. So I highly recommend the website eocalc.com. That was a website that Kenna with Modern Soap Making did, and you can put in like what you're trying to mix together and what you're making, and then it will tell you safe usage amounts. So that makes it kind of easy. Okay, so in this bowl, I have all of my oils. I have my essential oil, and as long as you know it's a slow moving oil, so lavender is really slow moving, I'm not going to have any issues with it. I go ahead and add it. Some people divide their soap out when they're swirling and then add it, but it's completely up to you. Okay. All right, so we'll put that to the side. And now I need to, okay, so let me show you what colors I'm using actually. I'm using charcoal for black. I'm going to use some Winter White from Nurture Soap for white. Mad Mica's Pow Pow Purple. Nurture Soap Making Waves, and Nurture Soap Jade Green. And so I'm going to divide my soap into 5 parts and then add the color and then do the design. So let me grab a few things. I need to get my stick blender, and I need 5 cups that I can divide my soap out into. So let me grab those. I have 2, tell me if you can relate to this. I have 2 stick blender heads that I can't find the base for those. So I probably just need to let them go. Okay, so gloves and goggles on because we're gonna mix our soap. We've got our molds ready. I've got my colorants ready. And yeah, I think we're ready to mix. So my temperatures, my oils are about 85 and my lye is about 80, it's about 87. So perfect. It's gonna move nice and slow because it's nice and cool. All right, so let me move these. Let's put this right where you guys can see it. I'm just gonna have to keep an eye on my phone so it doesn't fall. Let's see. Robin, relate 100%. Okay, let's try that. All right, so yeah, I just want to make sure everything's ready to go, and I think we're good. I do need one more thing, but it should be right here. Okay. All right, gloves and goggles on. We're gonna pour our lye solution into our oils. So this batch is 900 grams, so it fits perfectly in these bowls, and I'm pretty sure it's enough for this mold. I might have needed to do a little bigger of a batch, but we'll see how it goes. Ooh, yeah, Jamie, buy several of the same kind. Yes, I should have done that. I know, I'm kind of worried about the the phone falling in the soap. So someone asked about long sleeves. I mean, you certainly can wear long sleeves if you want. You definitely want to do gloves and goggles, and then it's totally beyond that, like long sleeves, closed-toed shoes. That's kind of a personal preference thing, okay? All right, so let's just go ahead and mix, and we want to mix just until it's emulsified and not completely traced, because we want lots of time to do our design. Wow, we missed the curtains. The curtains were so ugly. Oh. Okay, so literally a little mix like that. So that was just a few seconds. And for those of you that are new, I can tell it's not emulsified because I still have oil streaks in it. But I'm just gonna do that by hand and get it all mixed together. Because if I keep using the stick blender, it just might take it too far, and I don't want to do that. Although, like I said, using this design, if it does go a little far, that's okay because you're still going to get like a cool effect. So, not the biggest deal in the world. Okay. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So it's all the same color. There's no oil floating on top or anything, and that looks pretty well emulsified. I'm going to give it a couple more seconds just to make certain, but that looks pretty good. If you see a gray floaty, it's some charcoal soap that was on the stick blender. I didn't want to stand up there cleaning it while you guys waited down here. All right, so now I'm going to divide it into 5 parts because I'm using 5 colors. And if I want to be like completely precise, I can put these on the scale and weigh them, but I'm just going to eyeball it. I'm not that kind of sober, you know. So if you want to weigh everything, absolutely go for it. But I'm an eyeballer, so. And I might need to raise my camera up a little bit. I'll see what happens as we're doing this. Okay. Pretty good. Yeah, let me just try doing the camera up a little bit more and seeing. So I'll get this perfect at some point. All right, so we'll see what that looks like. All right, so I'm gonna add my colors. And when it comes to using micas, it looked like it paused a little bit, but I think we're back. When it comes to using micas and charcoal, what you see is what you get. So a supplier might recommend like 1 teaspoon per pound of oils or something like that, but just add it until you get a color that you like. So now my iPad's being weird. Let me check on that. Okay. All right. That's okay. Just keep going. So let me get all these colors going. When it comes to black, charcoal is my favorite black. You can use like a black mica, black oxide. I just really prefer charcoal. You can use a lot of it. without it staining. And I'm gonna kind of dump it in there. Okay, so that's probably a half a tablespoon. And I should have done white first because now I'm gonna put this in the white. White, we'll start with about a teaspoon. And we'll do about a teaspoon of each color. And then we'll mix them up and we'll just see if we want to add more. We can easily add more. Okay, let me just make sure you can see this. Let me see if I can bring it back up on my iPad because I really want to be able to read the comments here. I think it's because my iPad's like out of space. It's being really, really glitchy. That's okay. All right, so a mini mixer is a great way to mix in your colorants without over mixing. So you don't necessarily want to use your stick blender. Although I probably could with this batter just because it's so fluid. But if you're worried about over mixing, you can mix by hand using your spatula. Or you can just mix using a mini mixer. And this is so fluid. I think I am going to just use my stick blender because I think I'm going to have plenty of time to work with it. So not a big deal. So if you're doing this the first time, you might try hand mixing. That way you don't over mix. That's the cool thing about this recipe. Like it's so slow moving. Like I can sit here and mix it. I'm gonna have plenty of time. And I like to get my batter to like 100% emulsified to where it's just about to trace, or I see a little trace. So you don't want it too fluid or it's just gonna muddy up. It's not gonna come together nicely. So I can tell this is too fluid because there's bubbles in it and it's not that nice emulsified look. So we're gonna mix it just a little bit. Okay, that looks good. And when it comes to swirling, you really want to choose colors that are contrasting. So I wouldn't just swirl with this green, blue, and purple because the final design like wouldn't pop. And so throwing in some dark and some light is really going to make those colors pop and add the contrast that you need. So that is pretty perfect. So again, if your recipe, doesn't stay as fluid, stir by hand or stir using that mini mixer. Don't use your stick blender because you don't want to mix too much. All right, let me fix my phone again. I will have to get a new holder because it keeps like sliding just a little bit out. All right, so now for the fun part. So this is just easy peasy. And like I said, the cool thing about it is if your soap thickened too much, you can still do this really quickly and get your soap into the mold. So don't worry too much about that. And I'm just trying to look down and see how it's looking. Okay. All right, so as far as the order, you can go like light, dark, light, dark. I don't even follow a pattern. I just kind of go all over the place. But what you're gonna wanna do is pour your soap down the middle of the mold and just follow that pattern until all of your soap is in the mold. And then when you cut it, even though it looks like it's muddying up as you pour it, when you cut it, you'll have that really cool tiger stripe design, okay? So I'm just gonna do it to it. And these pour cups are really nice. They're from Brambleberry, but you can find them on Amazon. I'm sure like other suppliers have them. So if you want like thin tiger stripes, then you just pour a little soap. If you want thick stripes in your soap, then you can pour more soap. Okay, so you can totally control the final design. Okay. And this is it. Just follow that pattern. Like I said, it looks like it's kind of getting muddy, but when you go to cut it, it is not going to be muddy at all. Well, it shouldn't be unless you had your soap too fluid. I'm all over the place with these colors. Y'all are probably watching and saying, no, do the purple next. That's okay. All right, so just follow the pattern. And you can see it kind of looks like it's getting a little muddy, but it's not. It's just that soap that's floating to the top. Inside, it's going to be pretty perfect. So I have to tell you guys, the reason I got this mold, and Carrie at Nurture Soap should totally pay should pay her a fee, is because of Whitney with Cheeky Goat Soapery. Oh my goodness, her soaps, and I'm pretty sure she uses Nurture Soap Tall and Skinny. I could be totally wrong about that. But her soaps, her Tall and Skinny soaps, are like the cutest soaps I've ever seen. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to YouTube. She just started a channel, but she just makes the most adorable Tall and Skinny soaps. The designs are just amazing. And so, like I said, I had that Brambleberry Tall and Skinny mold, but it's just different. It's not as tall and skinny. It's more squatty. I don't know if you can be tall and squatty. It's just a different size and shape. So hopefully you guys know who I'm talking about, but I just adore her soaps. They're so cute. She needs to be like the Tall and Skinny spokesmodel. I've barely done any blue. I'm going to put a bunch of blue in there. Okay. All right, let me just check out the comments. So this is it. Like I said, this is so simple. So if you're new to soap making, I highly recommend giving this, because this is it. So simple. And again, if your soap gets thick, it's not a big deal. Just kind of plop it in there as best you can, and you're still gonna have like all the pretty colors, and you're still gonna get a cool design. It'll just be a little different than what you're going through for. So always have a backup plan. And when it comes to thickening soap, my backup plan is usually always like a spoon plop. If your soap thickens, just get a couple spoons and just rotate plopping your soap in the mold. And you'll get a cool design, kind of like a camo effect. Okay. So that's it. Let me scrape all this out on top. And when it comes to putting the soap on top, I just kind of plop it on there, so it's not going to mess up the design or anything below the surface. So just kind of, if it's not down the center, that's okay, is what I'm saying. So this was a 900 gram batch, and I think it's going to fit, which is about 2 pounds of oils. I have turned into a grams person simply because it's just easier when doing smaller quantities. our audience at Love and Soaps International and a lot of other people, you know, we're the only ones that do the ounce thing. So that is why I usually talk in grams these days. And so what I'll do is, even though this recipe is nice and slow moving, it still uses a water discount, and so I'm able to unmold it and cut it within 24 hours, usually only after like 12 hours, but I'll do it tomorrow morning. And if I don't do it live, I will definitely post pictures for you guys so you can see what it looks like. Yeah, so that fit pretty perfectly. I could even maybe add, I would say maybe 2 more ounces. So maybe like, well, actually with the lye and water, maybe like 40 more grams of oil if I wanted to like reformulate a recipe to fit it perfectly. But I think that's going to be fine. Like that's, I think that's still a pretty tall bar. So there that is. And then I'm just going to swirl the top a little. If you swirl this, you don't want to go all the way down because you don't want to break that design. And so I'm just gonna swirl the tippy top. And then I don't want this to get ash, so I'm gonna spray with alcohol. Except I'm gonna wait a few minutes to let it set up a little bit, because sometimes if you spray with alcohol right away, especially if you have like a really large particle mica, it picks up those particles and spreads it around. So you don't want to do that. You want it to be nice and set before you spray it with mica. So right now it's shiny. I wait till it gets kind of that dull look, and then I spray it with alcohol. And you want to use like the highest grade alcohol you can find. So let me try one more time to bring this up on my iPad so I can see your questions, if you have any. And there's a couple links I talked about which I will post for you. Okay, so okay, so yeah, the tall and skinny mold, it's from Nurture Soap. So let me swing this around and I'll show you. Those of you that are interested. Yeah, so Nurture Soap. I think it's just nurturesoap.com. I don't think it's Nurture Soap Supplies or anything. But it makes a bar that is just that. It's tall and skinny. So different than, you know, a regular loaf mold that's wider than it is taller. So it just makes a really cute design. And I'm just looking through the comments here to see if I missed any questions because I just couldn't see it. A soaps model for them. She should be a soaps model for them. You know, the thing about soap making is, and this is totally normal. There's nothing wrong with it. But a lot of people make the same soaps that other people make, you know, like everyone has their lavender soap, their watermelon soap, you know, their coffee soap and da-da-da-da. And so it's nice and refreshing when like someone comes into the industry and just totally does something new. Like she does some soaps that I just haven't seen similar to what other people are making. So it's just really refreshing and nice to see that. And it's been a lot of fun. Yeah. Cheeky Goat Soapery. I think that's her business. So I'll put a link to her as well. But I just wanted to give her a shout out because she did inspire me to get this mold and try it out. And I just adore her soap. She started a YouTube channel and it's Cheeky Goat Soapery on YouTube, I believe. So again, I'll post a link for you guys, but she does some fun stuff. So that's it for today. Like I said, I'll get on and post the link to some of the stuff that I talked about, resources that I talked about, especially if you're new. But I'm going to go ahead. Okay, so I'm going to try and do these every Friday, about the same time, like 9 o'clock, somewhere around there. And I know it's early, but again, it's just because of my kids. It's just the easiest time. And you can always watch the replay. So if you go to the group and you hit the video tab, you should always be able to find the replay for the videos. So, yeah, so Diana says, I think the tall and skinny soap bar is very elegant. I do too. That's one thing that I just really love about it. It just really looks good. So, okay, guys, I hope you'll have a wonderful Friday and a wonderful weekend and that everyone is hanging in there. I know it's crazy times right now.